I'm here to turn the other cheek and flip tables, and I'm all out of cheeks.
Hello everybody. If you like my content and you would like to support a starving artist, you can now do so. My Cash App details are in the channel's description. And any donations are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, and let's get into the discussion. Hey everybody. Oh, how's it going? Hold on a second, I want to get a drink. Alright, so today kind of hung up on this whole once saved, always saved thing. It's kind of been on my mind a little bit. So, once saved, always saved, is that real? I think yes and no. I think it is true and not true at the same time. Well, how could that be? Well, here's how I think that works. The whole once saved, always saved is really like this. You are saved once you come to Christ, but it's not the end all be all, right? It's not the one and done solution to everything, because the Bible says that we are called to pick up our cross, to deny ourselves and pick up our cross daily, right? And of course that is a daily thing. We are also, the Bible also says that we are to work out our salvation with fear and trembling, which again, that is another daily process. Now, once you truly come to Christ and you are a believer, you're not going to fall away. You are a new creation. But it's a constant work in process, or however you want to look at it. It's a consistent thing, a daily thing. You're going to want to learn more. You're going to want to, discover more than what you already know, to grow as a Christian. Otherwise, what's the point? If you think you have all the answers, well then, I guess you just don't have any room to grow. There's no room for growth. If a person thinks they know everything, well, that person is not teachable. Because they're too arrogant. And that's a big thing to me, keeping yourself in check. To be humble servants of the Lord. And if you think you have everything figured out, or you pretty well have the answers of this or that, it's not exactly being humble. It's kind of arrogant. Of course, you can always turn to the Bible. The Bible has the answers and everything. But yeah, I really firmly believe it is a daily thing. Now you get those Christians who get saved and then turn away from the faith. You get preachers who do the same, once on fire for the Lord and then turn away from the faith, which would have to leave you wondering if they were even in the faith to begin with. And it is important. We are saved by grace through faith, yes. That doesn't mean we should disregard the law. Personally, I'm sort of against Calvinism to an extent, right? Personally, I believe that keeping God's commandments is what we are supposed to do as Christians. We are called to keep the Lord's commandments. And when you're a born-again Christian and you a believer of Jesus, you're going to want to keep God's laws and abide by the teachings of Jesus and the Ten Commandments and so forth. But the fact is, we are still sinners. We are just born again. Even being born again, we are still sinners. But like with me, I have improved tremendously in my walk with the Lord. And it hasn't been easy, but I'm very happy with the progress I have made. And I take my walk with the Lord very seriously. I do. And because of that, I want to keep God's laws. I just don't want to be thumping people over the head with the Bible. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. I'm not going to be pointing my finger. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be shoving my theology down someone else's throat. You know who else was good law in the Bible? You know who were good law keepers? The Pharisees were good at keeping the law, but they had no relationship with Jesus. Well, of course, they didn't know Jesus. He was right there. He was alive then and there. The Lord was present right in front of them, and they were blind, all because of the law. So, with keeping in mind of the Pharisees, you can take things too far, in a manner of speaking. You can, and what I mean by that is, you can keep the law and not have a relationship with Jesus. Just because you're good at keeping the law doesn't mean, it doesn't mean you're in a relationship with Jesus. It just means you're keeping the law. And if you live by the law, no man can live up to the law. It's impossible. That's why we need grace. That's why Jesus died to save us with grace. Because if all of us had to live up to the law, none of us could do it at all whatsoever. So my vehicle is running very well. I broke down a couple of days ago.